It is Monday already. Welcome everybody to Recon. Welcome Reconers for being here, and those who are watching Facebook Live. Denny Grimes, and no, this is not my studio. I'm in at a real estate conference in Puerto Rico, and it's a group called the Future of Real Estate. And so I want to know what the future holds, and I'll share some of those tidbits with you. Welcome, team. Today we have something that was actually posted or actually requested. If you want to request an objection, please send me an email, Coach Denny Grimes at Gmail, and we will make sure not only that we use it, and we might even give you a little plug. This comes from our buddy Don, and this is what we're going to be handling today. I've got good news and bad news for you. You met a buyer, and this buyer wants basically to show to show them some homes. However, this is what they said: we're happy to work with you on your listings, as we only work with the listing agent. How many of you heard that before? And it looks like I'm frozen, so I will get unfrozen. There we go. Don, are you running the control tower?
I think Kelly is.
All right, Kelly, what's going on? You're muted, buddy. Rookie.
Great conversationalist.
That was awesome. Today we have Jose with Don.
Okay.
Hey, Jose, we're happy to work with you on your listings. As you know, we only work with the listing agent.
Gotcha. Thank you for choosing to work with me on my listings, Don. Now tell me, what got you looking?
Well, we need a bigger house.
Gotcha. And what happens to you if you don't find a bigger house?
We'll stay here until we do. We'll get
Okay.
one.
And your current living situation is again?
We own.
Okay. Do you need to sell this before you move?
No, we probably just rent it. Probably keep it.
Got it. Understood. Now, I understand you only want to work with listing agents. How does that benefit you, Don?
Well, we'll save money.
Okay. Is that the only reason for working with a listing agent?
That's a good question. I think the listing agent, well, like you know this house better than anybody else. So why
That
not
is
work
correct.
directly with you, right?
That is correct, Don. Now, you do understand that I represent the seller, right?
Yeah.
And more listing agents are going to tell you the same thing. And how does that benefit you outside of saving money?
Well, I mean, it's not, I don't think anybody's going to do anything illegal. So we want to make sure we save the money. Plus, you as a listing agent, you know the seller's motivation better than anybody. You know what they're going to take. Why do I need another agent to do that?
That is correct. I do know, understand that from the listing agent. What I'm trying to understand is, are you missing out by not having your own representation?
Stop. Time. All right. Well, Jose, I'm glad you let off. You've got fundamentally, you're kind of like a junior Fred Astaire on the dance floor. You follow a pretty good series. You ask 3 different questions to get clarity on what they're doing. Interesting. And then you went into the actual concern. I have a couple of notes here, but I think typically what Matt and I do is we hold back a little bit. I'll see if I can't remember these. There was a couple things I might have said or done differently, or I'd point out. Let me just give you one. I'll let Matt give you one. When you say represent, I think that's too soft, the word. You know that the listing agent represents the seller? I don't think they really get the full impact. And what made me think of that is like, you could have asked the question, do you realize that the listing agent is working to protect the seller? Protect, or maybe a little bit more stronger word than represent. So I'll just throw that out. Matt, what's your little tidbit?
I've said before, solely in the seller's best interest. They're working solely in the seller's best interest.
So you're on the same page as I am. Something a little stronger than represent.
Yeah, right. Because they think that and then the point that I was going to make was when they say they want to save money, well, how much? Like what is and what gives you the perception by going directly to the listing agent you are going to be in fact saving money?
Okay, there's our tidbits. Who's next? Kelly.
So next we have Michelle Lewis with me.
Okay.
All right, Michelle. So we're happy to work with you on your listings as we only work with the listing agent.
Kelly, I'm glad to work with you as well on my listings. And Kelly, I was just curious to see what would be a reason that you're interested in searching for a home right now?
We want to get into a new neighborhood for school reasons.
Okay, a new neighborhood. And when you say new neighborhood, like newer, when you say newer,
Well, new for us.
okay, new for you.
Yeah.
And a school district that's good for your children. And Kelly, how would you think that working with a listing agent would benefit you directly?
Well, that way I don't have to go through another agent. It's just easier. You're already there. You know what's going on with the house and all the insides and outs.
Okay, and do you realize, Kelly, that working with the listing agent was actually hired by the seller and they are solely responsible for the seller's interest. Are you aware of that?
I am, but how would that affect me using you?
That's a great question, Kelly. Basically, we have a fiduciary responsibility
Time.
to the seller.
I want you to give a quiz to all of your prospects and ask them to define fiduciary.
Fiduciary.
And they can't go to GTP chat.
Mm-hmm.
So if you want to go down that road, speak English. Here's my 2 cents, Michelle. Interesting, Matt. Interesting here too. I was going to give her one more question, where maybe your brain is working on how to warm up to the real issue they're bringing up. Why are you moving? Da, da, da. Okay, so I'll give you were 34 seconds into it before you actually went into the issue. Kelly said something different. He said, well, you know more about the home. He didn't say anything about money necessarily. And here's what went through my mind, Matt. All right. So on average, the listing agent, what percent of knowledge does a listing agent have of the listing relative to the showing agent? Showing agent has basically the information in MLS. So would you say that the listing agent has double the information, or 20% more information? So here's my thought, you guys, and let me know what you think. So if that's your case, so how much more are you willing to pay for the house because the listing agent happens to know about 15% more of the details that don't really matter?
Mm-hmm.
Now, just think about that question. And maybe it was too complex. Maybe I should have asked that in a different way. But now you're making them think, oh, you want to go to the person that has more information, so you're willing to pay more for the information that doesn't really matter. Is that right? Would you think that might make them think a moment, Matt?
Yeah, and what I've asked him before is what information are you hoping to know about the seller in the home that another agent wouldn't know, that you think another agent wouldn't know? What
Yep.
is it because the funny thing is, like when you ask, I've had many, because I was a buyer's agent for the first 150 years of my career. These are the objections I handled every single day. Well, what is it you're hoping to learn from the listing agent that another realtor wouldn't know? And 9 times out of 10, it's ambiguous nothingness, meaning they didn't know. So the other point that I was going to make about this, to Denny was kind of making the point of, well, you're getting the why and the what I've said before, the 3 things of real estate, why you're doing it, when you need to do it by, what happens if you don't. The reason why I focus on that here is because I like to look at it from the lens of, and I don't want to give away the farm. What happens if the home that you're going to be working with them on isn't the right one? Because then they're going to have to find another listing agent and another and another. And you see my point there. That's the pain I like to press on. So if you know the why, the when, the what happens if they don't, then you can say, well, how much time are you willing to spend looking for X, right?
Yeah. Which is the other card. We haven't gotten to it yet, but we'll see if we can get to it. And Matt, one more thing I'm going to let you bring up. Jose, when he says, well, the motivation of the seller and all the stuff. You know what? Here's where I think you missed the opportunity. I would have said, but I can't tell you that.
Right.
They think you know it. Yes, I know it, but I can't tell you. And no other listing agent will either. So how about them apples? By the way, did you know the best time to pick apples is I think the second week or third week of September? And the reason I say that is a media called me yesterday and said, do you know that this is Goldilocks week in real estate? Has anyone ever heard that before?
Yeah.
I had
I've
to
heard.
I had to use GPT chat, and here it is. This week, what's going on right now, statistically, is the best week to buy and sell real estate in the country. And so I have a TV interview regarding that in a little bit. And so the first thing I did was, okay, that's kind of funny. I mean, statistically, and what's interesting about that is this. It's fake useful information that can be mathematically defendable. So if you want to have a conversation with somebody and get their interest as a buyer, let them know it's Goldilocks week. Who's next, Kelly?
Next, we have Frank Ruma with Don.
Welcome back, Frank. He's so soft.
Frank, we're happy to work with you on your listings as we only work with the listing agent.
Well, I appreciate you calling me, Don. How long have you been out looking?
A couple months.
Okay. And why do you normally choose the listing agent to work with?
Oh, obviously everybody knows we're going to save money by working with a listing agent directly.
How much money would you save by working with the listing agent, do you think?
Well, 3% of the sales price. That's a lot of money.
Okay, so you think you're going to save on the commission. Do you understand? And I just want to be honest with you, and I think you'd want that from me, is I'm representing the seller to get them the most money for their home. And so is every other listing agent you've worked with. And I'm sure they told you that, or hopefully they did.
I guess some have, some haven't.
Okay. And that's the thing. And when they hired me, I don't do dual agency. I'll be glad to show you the house, but I don't want to know anything about your motivation because I'm working for their interest. And if you decide you want to buy this house, I'll connect you with an agent that can write up the offer for you.
Hang on 1 second. I just want to say dual agency falls into the same category as fiduciary. If you want to talk about that, use layman's term, please.
Okay.
What else would you say?
I in the state of Ohio, I could represent both you and the seller, but I won't do that because I just don't think it's fair. It's like, Don, if you were getting a divorce and sharing the same attorney with your spouse.
Got it. So
Okay.
a couple things here, Frank. Really fast. And I think I have some buddies from Canada watching. Shaw, your group watching. I don't really know you can put in the chat what the deal is in Canada. Here's the thing I wrote down about your conversation. You went down the road, save money, great. And he said save 3%. Then you said save on the commission. He didn't say save on the commission. Is it possible he meant maybe saving on he get a better price of 3%? So you automatically went down the commission road without getting clarity on that.
All right.
So, and the counter offer is, okay, so you might, let's just assume you save a point or two on the commission because he gives you a break. How much more are you going to pay over what somebody else will because you don't have anybody negotiating for your benefit? Right, Matt?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on the point that you picked up on, Denny, but the next question I would have asked was, where's the 3% coming from? Because
Well, that's right. He assumed it was a commission. So
yeah,
keep going.
and I didn't pick up on that though. But that would have been my next question because he said, well, I'm hoping to save, 3%. And where's the 3% coming from? I want him to say commission. Reason being is, frankly, I don't know. You know what? You can all disagree with me. It's fine. When a buyer comes directly to you, at least in my scenario, when a buyer comes directly to me, commission's not a discussable topic. It's not. I've already renegotiated it with the seller. So I even say that to the buyers. So just so I understand, you're hoping that to get a discount on the brokerage fee by coming directly to me. They say, well, yeah, okay. Well, and did you know that that's not a discussable topic between you and I. When this client hired me, we already pre-negotiated what they're willing to compensate me to get their home sold. So help me understand how you will get a better deal by going directly to the listing agent.
So we're at halftime, you guys. Hey, welcome, Shaw. There's my Canadian friend. I don't know. We won't get into the dissertation there, but they do things different in Canada. Now, you guys, there's another reason. The main reason that buyers are shooting themselves in the foot by going to the listing agent. Let's see if it can come out in this role play. Who's next?
Next,
And
we
it's
have
not
Debbie
money.
with,
Keep going.
Debbie
That's
with
right.
me.
All right, go.
Hey, Debbie, we're happy to work with you on your listings as we only work with the listing agent.
Okay, Kelly, I understand, but what makes you want to work
What do you
just with the
understand?
Sorry, who's saying that?
I
What
can't.
makes you want to work solely with the listing agent?
You guys have a little bit more inside knowledge of the house and the particulars, and I've had some bad experience with some other agents that didn't really know a whole lot about the house.
Okay, well, did you know that the listing agent is working solely for the seller and the seller's best interest? Were you aware of that?
Well, I wasn't totally aware of that, but what are you trying to tell me?
Well, there's a lot that the listing agent knows about the house and is privy to information with the seller that they cannot let you know about
Privileged.
directly. There's somebody that keeps interrupting.
Can somebody mute Demige?
Sorry.
Yeah, Debbie. So, yeah, I understand you're representing the seller, their best interest, but wouldn't you be representing my best interest too? Is there a way to do that?
Kelly, to be perfectly frank, there isn't a way for me to do that. I could represent you as a customer, in which case I could just fill out forms, but I couldn't give you much information.
Hey, Debbie, I'm
Yes,
just
I
kind of
would.
curious. Hang on a second. Just kind of curious. That was an opening, I think. This isn't going the direction I wanted to go, and we still have to get to the other reason. But when he said, "Can you represent me?" Can you spot an opening there, guys? Well, tell me what kind of representation would you want? Now you're going to walk him
Oh,
down
okay.
the aisle of representation and help him discover what he does not have, Matt.
Yeah,
Yeah.
parallels, right? Well, Kelly, what type of what representation are you looking for here? You can answer.
Someone to represent my best interest.
And
Well,
and
it's certainly not the listing agent.
right, and
Right.
and you mentioned that you only go to the listing agents in the past. Am I understand that correctly?
Yeah, we've had good luck with that.
Okay. At what point in the past did they represent your best interest as well?
Well, I just felt like they were doing a really good job for us and I thought based on the negotiation we had, I felt like I had a good deal.
Okay, but
I
who
had a good
hired
outcome.
them? But who hired them?
The sellers of the house did.
Right. Are you married?
Ooh.
Yes, I am.
Okay. So I hope this never happens, but let's say that Mrs. Everart comes home tonight and she says, I'm done here and I've got an attorney and he's going to serve you with papers tomorrow. Is the next phone call you're going to make to her attorney to hire him?
Absolutely not.
Okay. This is a lot like that.
Mm.
So,
Denny.
yeah. So here's again. I was like tracking ahead of him already on the lawyer of it. So just imagine mediation. Just let your wife's attorney handle the mediation for you too. And it's a sensitive thing. There's a better way to do that. Not a better. There's just a different way to do it. Hey, ever had any of your buddies get into a business situation, then a partnership didn't work out? I go down the partnership route with a legal thing, with not the divorce, because it just has a lot of bad memories for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So does that make sense? Next, well, I want to see. There's another reason why. Think about it. There's another reason why people are making a mistake by working with a listing agent only. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So go. Who's next?
Next, we have Mike Brennan with Don.
Mike, we're happy to work with you on your listings as we only work with the listing agent.
Mike Brennan.
He passed out.
Oh man. You
All
still
right,
there, Mike? I don't see him on camera anymore either.
all right, let's go. Let's go Tiffany Larson with Don.
Okay, go.
Tiffany, we're happy to work with you on your listing says we only work with the listing agent.
Well, Don, I really appreciate your call today. Thank you so much for reaching out. Can I back up for just a second and ask you a question about that? Why is
Sure.
it that you prefer to only work with the listing agent?
Oh, we'll definitely save money by cutting out the middle person that we don't need.
And I've actually heard that a lot over the years. Can I ask you how much or how you think you're going to actually save money by cutting out the listing agent?
Wait a
Well,
minute.
half of the
Wait a minute. Wait a
I don't
minute.
think he said
What-
money.
No, well, he didn't say listing agent either. He said what? Middleman. Where's the middleman?
Okay, let me
So
rephrase that then. How would you save money by cutting out the middleman?
well, that would be a an agent that's going to represent us. Seller doesn't have to pay them, and therefore they save money, we save money, right?
Potentially. Did you know that when you talk directly to the listing agent is solely representing the seller in the transaction?
Yeah, I get that.
And Don, can I ask you another question? What happens if this particular home is not the one that fits your needs?
Well, we'll do what we've been doing. We'll go find another house.
Okay. So if I could just for a second tell you a little bit how we work with our clients and kind of
time.
my
Probably. I just called time. We're at a minute 30 on that. Here's where let me ask you guys this. Now I'm tracking with Matt said a little bit ago. So you talk up front, how long you been looking, when you want to be in, blah, blah, blah. So if somebody takes the tact of working with the listing agent, then how many different agents are they talking to? Does it sound very efficient to you?
So
Does it
this is
sound
where I was going to go with it is talk about the fact that as a agent representing a buyer, we have the opportunity to create a profile for them that allows us to be able to do the work on their behalf to find the right property to fit their needs. And I don't know how you do this in like 2 seconds. So
well,
that's the problem I have.
you don't have to, you have 90, but you did great. What I'm trying to do is have people understand that how long is this? All right. How many people have known this house is for sale before this gentleman knew because he saw it on Zillow or saw it on MLS or something, realtor.com, that it was for sale? 30 days, 45 days. So basically, I'm sorry, Matt, let me just finish here. It's already been exposed to a lot of different people. When you have a listing coming up, you let your people know. And if your people don't know, you let your team know. If your team doesn't have anybody, you let your office know. So basically, hundreds of people potentially have said no to the home before they even see it. So this is the road you started to drive on, Tiffany, where you could set up the profile to get them ahead. However, one more thing I'll say is, going back to a conversation we had not long ago, Matt, you have to get them to buy into the fourth mindset of a buyer, meaning, well, what can I give you some advice as a friend? Find someone you trust to help you get ahead of this, get you to the front of the line. And then I could be that one person. Are you tracking with me, Matt?
Yeah, absolutely. That's where I was going earlier in the role play, which is where are you now? Why are you buying? When do you need to buy? What happens if you don't? Now you know the pain. What's the perceived benefit of working with the listing agent? Okay, and if this home would you disagree with the fact that the very best deals sell quickly in any market? Any market, very best deals sell quickly, right? So how many listing agents are you willing to hop from, potentially missing out on a home that meets your wants and needs because you perceive there's benefit in going directly to the listing agent? That's why the knowing the why, the when, and what happens if they don't, you're able to communicate. Because if they just say, well, I'm just buying because I've got 15 houses, I want a 16th. Okay, when do you need to buy? Oh, no time frame. Okay, what happens if you don't? We just keep looking. Next. They're perpetual lookers. But if it's somebody that's somewhere and they need to get somewhere by a certain date, how many more listing agents are you willing to hop from in the hopes that you save a few pennies, knowing the very best deals are gone within a few days of them coming on the market?
Yep.
Can I ask a really
Yep.
quick question? In this
Sure.
case, they're calling the selling agent. And so if you're talking them out of having you potentially represent them in this particular transaction, that's kind of a shaky ground too there, because
what you focus on expands. So you're not necessarily trying to talk them out of you helping them here. You're trying to help them self-discover the benefit, whether it be you or somebody else, having somebody in their corner in the long run, because they're going to miss out on the right property.
We have an extra 5 or 10 minutes afterwards for overtime. If you want to hang around, we can talk about that. We've got time for one more, I think maybe two. Who's up?
Tiffany Lord.
Tiffany Lord with me. Here we go, Tiffany. So we're happy to work with you on your listings, as we only work with the listing agent.
Well, Kelly, I'm so happy that you've decided to work with me on this house at least. But can I ask you, why only work with the listing agent?
It's just easier to see your sign in the yard and get the phone number. And obviously, you know more about the house than what I think other people do.
Yeah, well, I think it's fair to say I might know a little bit more about the house than other people do. But outside of the ease of just calling somebody, is there anything else that would make you use just the listing agent, as opposed to getting your own representation through a buyer's agent?
I really just don't want to go through the work of finding another agent.
Right. So let me ask you, as you want to come see this house, in which I'm happy to show you, what if this house doesn't work out? What if you walk into this one as I want it to be the one, but if it doesn't work out, are you going to continue to, like you said, be even more exhausted of calling another listing agent, another listing agent, another listing agent?
No, I've done it before. And it seems to have worked out before when I've done it.
Okay. Tell me about that last time. When was
Well, I
that?
went through A, B, C,
Time.
and D neighborhoods, and yeah.
Couple of things really fast, Tiffany. You said thanks for I appreciate you willing to work with me on that. So I learn stuff when I go through this each and every time, right? And say he's not electing for you to work with you.
Mm-hmm.
He just want you to open the door.
Yep.
And then the second time you said show you the house. So get through your mind, number one, he's not elected to work with you. You're just basically opening the door. Here's two quick thoughts. Number one, going back to what the other Tiffany said a minute ago, and I understand why she agreed with them versus not agreeing with them, because you didn't want to get into a fight. But I do not believe a buyer using this philosophy will ever save money, ever. Zero, not a zero. It's like a for sale by owner, most likely won't save money selling it themselves. That's my mindset. And so the last thought I'll give you and let Matt close out is, if an agent knows that this person is only going to work with the listing agent, and this listing agent has one house that they're showing him, what's the goal of the listing agent? To sell them on the house. So I would ask the buyer, do you want to be sold on the house, or you want somebody working for your benefit? And they'll say, well, what do you mean? And I'd lay that scenario out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
That listing agent is going to be selling you this house, and instead of paying attention to your needs, Matt.
Yeah. The only guys, who's the only person that wins when a buyer comes directly to the listing agent? The listing agent. It's the only person that wins, because I earn more money. That's it. They don't accept less for the house. I've already pre-negotiated brokerage fee with my client, the seller, and I'm not going to deviate from that to make the deal work. No, we'll find another buyer, and we'll do it again. So, ultimately, in this scenario, the path of least resistance, and I use that just because of a lack of a better phrase. The path of least resistance is to find out what their scenario is. And when I was a buyer's agent, if this was somebody that did, no motive whatsoever, doesn't matter when they buy, if they don't buy, they keep looking. Well, that's like trying to sell ice to Eskimos. It's just not, it's not going to compute. But if it's somebody that actually has a need, and in the role play with Kelly right there, he said, I just don't want to go through the work of hiring another agent. I can save you the work, Kelly. Can I give you some friendly advice? Whether it be me or somebody else, it's always best when you start looking to hook up with one person you know and trust.
There you go.
Because the very best deals sell quickly in any market. And the last thing I'd want to hear somebody like you having to do is you don't like this house, so you have to call the next listing agent, the next listing agent, the next listing agent, the next listing agent. Understanding the very best deals are sold sometimes within minutes of being on the market. Is that what you want to do? And if they say, yes, that's what I want to do, fantastic. When can you meet me at the house? Bye-bye.
There you go. 10 o'clock, we can go to overtime. The recording will go off. I've got maybe 10